Oh boy, is this going to be a good one. So today, I'm not going to show you guys a move. I'm going to show you guys a trick. In this case, it's going to be out of this world. For those of you guys that don't know the concept, the spectator deals the cards in two piles. And of course, when the cards are turned over, the red cards are in one pile, the black cards are in the other pile. It's a wonderful trick, and there are many, many different variations. I've placed a bunch on the channel. I have a number of ones that I haven't necessarily released yet because I'm being selfish. This is a fun one that is from a borrowed shuffle deck. So we're combining two ideas here. I've alluded to this before on the channel, and I've even talked about certain variations, but this is going to be a combination of Paul Harris's Galaxy and a combination of Michael Amar's Out of This World from his card series with L&L Publishing. So you're going to see that that initial Michael Amar idea is what allows us to use a borrowed shuffle deck, and the Paul Harris idea is what allows us to end clean. So it's a very, very simple thing to do. All you're going to do is have the spectator mix and shuffle the cards and hand you about half the cards. Now, the reason for this is because this is going to be a fairly tedious process, and you don't want the spectator to essentially go through the whole deck. So they're going to mix the deck, they're going to hand it to you. And here's the touch that I think makes this an absolute miracle. We're not going to talk about the cards being red or black until the very end of the trick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these cards and fan them towards me. And all the cards that I'm going to take out are going to be of one single color. It's going to make sense in a little bit. But I'm going to tell the spectator, in a moment, I'm going to take cards out of the deck. And you're either going to tell me to place it over here or over here. I want you to use your intuition. Whenever you feel like the card should go in this pile, let me know it should go in that pile. Whenever you feel the card should go in this pile, let me know it should go in that pile. So I'm not saying anything of this is a red pile, this is a black pile. I'm just separating the piles by space. So here's one pile, here's the other pile, and you're going to do this essentially by feel. So all I'm going to do is all the cards that I'm going to take out are going to be of one single color. This is the beautiful Michael Amar bit. So you just turn these cards towards yourself. The spectator isn't seeing these cards, and you are asking them which pile this card should go in. Let's assume they put it here. We're going to go through a bunch of cards this way, asking which pile they feel the card should go. You see why this is done with half the cards, because if I use the entire deck, this will take all day. So it's just a streamlined version. So all I'm doing here is I'm going through the cards and taking out all the cards that are the same color. So in this case, all the cards that I'm taking out that are being placed on the table right now are the red cards. And you're going to see that this is going to essentially allow us to do the method at the end where it seems like both piles were separated, a black pile and a red pile. I'm also going to allude to a little bit of a bonus prediction you could do in a little bit, but let's just get to the core method first. So we're going to have the spectator go through and mention whichever pile they want me to place the card. One little touch that I like doing is taking these cards out and saying, I'll tell you what, these are 3 cards. 2 of these cards are going to go in one pile and 1 card is going to go in the other pile. So which 2 do you feel should go in this pile? A little bit of a touch here and just a little bit of a separation so the spectator thinks they have the element of choice when really all the cards are of one color. And you could also do this when you notice that one pile is wearing thin. So in this case, let's say the spectator has placed 4 cards here and 3 cards here. I might say that 2 cards go in this pile and 1 card goes in that pile, just so I can make this pile a little bit more even. So that's just a little bit of a ploy. I don't have anybody that's done that before. I don't think I've seen anybody do that. So a nice little bit of a ploy there when you have a pile that's getting empty. So at this point, the spectator grabs whichever 2 cards they want. They put in this pile. They grab the remaining card and put in that pile. And we're going to go through until we run out of red cards. So you notice right now, I only have black cards left in the hand. So at this point, it's up to you how you want to proceed. If you want, you could have the spectator take the cards in their hand and just deal the cards in whichever pile they want by feel. So they're going to deal to the cards back and forth just by feel. If you want, you could continue with the same procedure. Personally, I like having the spectator take the cards and put it and deal the cards by feel, just because it does put the cards in their hand and it makes this last part a little bit more hands-off. So at this point, if you've noticed, what you have are 2 piles that are essentially identical. We have 2 piles where the bottom stack is red and the top stack is black. So that's what's taking place here. We have 2 piles that are the exact same thing. We have red cards and black cards. So now at this point, all you're going to do is you're going to take any one of the piles that you want. You're going to spread it to yourselves and note the last off-colored card of cards that are on top. So you notice the top stock is black. The last card in my key card is going to be the 5 of spades. The reason for this is that now we're going to bring up the actual premise of the trick. So at this point is when I like to bring up the premise. The premise being you dealt the cards in whichever pile you felt. Initially, I was telling you which cards. The second half, you did it based on your intuition alone. I'm going to be honest with you. You know that there are two colors in a deck. There's red and black. Again, you dealt this entirely by your own intuition. And here what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick up the pile of the card that I know, the five of spades, and I'm going to start dealing the black cards. This is the wonderful Paul Harris, Wyman Jones Galaxy principle here. So we're going to be turning over these cards and showing that they're all black until I get to the five of spades, which is my key card. Once I get to this five of spades, I'm simply going to grab this pile, drop it on top, turn everything over, put this unified pile on top, and spread the cards. You notice this beautiful action cleans up the rest of the cards. So now we have exactly as we should, all the red cards on one side and all the black cards on the other side. So everything matches up perfectly. Let's go over that last move one more time because it can be a little bit confusing. So remember, at the end of the last step, you have apparently cards that are really hard to get out of the table. You have a situation where you have a bunch of black cards on top of some red cards. You also have a bunch of black cards on top of some red cards. Depending on the way the spectator shuffled, more or less is going to be what you're going to find. We've turned over whichever pile. As we turn it over, we say, man, you did really, really good here. You did fantastic. We're noting this last card, which is the four of spades. I'm going to turn this pile face down in my hand, and I'm going to deal the card to show that the spectators have dealt and have managed to deal apparently all the black cards in this pile. Once I get to my key card, to save time, my inner monologue is that, oh, you know what? This is taking too long. Let me just save some time. I'm going to grab this pile, which is the one left on the table. I'm going to drop it on top of my current pile. I'm going to turn everything face up, drop this pile on top of the current pile, and then spread them, which is beautiful because that cleans up the deck exactly how we want it. So now we could take this and split it off exactly as it is based on color, and the spectator has apparently separated the cards into two distinct piles. So that is the basic version of this trick, and as you could see, it's definitely phenomenal because the spectator has made every single choice and the cards still end up in this situation. If you want to add a little bit of a twist, one thing that you could do that really takes this trick to the next level, depending on your performance preference, sometimes it might actually muddle the effect. The effect here is that the cards have been separated into red and black. If you want to add a little bit of a prediction, you could definitely very easily do that by having the spectator mix the cards up. So this is before we start. We have the spectator mix up the cards and shuffle them. And we're going to have a shuffled pile in this case. When we take the cards back, what we're going to do is we're going to get a marker and we're going to mark one of these cards and say, please place me in the right pile. That's all we're going to write in the card. So in this case, on the Ace of Hearts, I've simply written, please place me in the correct pile. So that's all we've done to one particular card. We could put this card back in the deck, and now we're ready to go. So whatever color is that card, so in this case, the card is the Ace of Hearts that we wrote the prediction on. We're going to take out the opposite color first. So the reason for that is going to be apparent in a little bit, but in this case, we have the Ace of Hearts, so therefore we're going to take out the black cards first. So we're going to go through the exact same thing as the initial trick. So we're going to have the cards separated. We're going to tell the spectator to divide it by feel. And in this case, what we're going to do is we're actually going to take out the Ace of Hearts as one of those initial black cards. So with the off-colored pile, we're taking that prediction card. So the spectator is going to place that card in the wrong pile. You're going to see why this is going to make a difference in a little bit here. But we've gone through all the cards. The spectator has dealt the first pile of cards, which are all black. Remember, all we have here left are going to be the red cards, which we hand to them. They're going to separate these cards however it is that they want. And here is going to be the little part where we are going to take that initial part where we peek at the key card, and we're going to have to make an adjustment. So here, we're going to spread through this pile. We're going to notice that the card is in this pile. So we're going to notice that the spectator's card is in this pile, and therefore we don't want to use this pile. So we're going to place this face down. If you want, you could just remember which pile the spectator places the card in and just pick up the opposite one. So in this case, this is the pile that we're going to use. We're going to turn this face up. We're going to note our key card here. In this case, the key card is the Nine of Hearts. And we're going to do the exact same thing as before. We're going to say, look, we've actually managed to deal and separate the cards into red and black. We're going to do the exact same move as before. We're going to spread through. We're going to separate both piles, and we're going to say, look, you dealt all the red cards here. You've dealt all the black cards here. Now here, we're going to notice that there's a single red card in the pile. So the spectator has apparently made a mistake. But here's the part that I really, really love about this, because all the cards apart from these have been separated precisely by the spectator. We're going to very slowly take this card out, and they're going to notice and read the message that says, please place me in the correct pile. We'll then place this card in the red pile, and we have a successful conclusion to this little bit of a variation of Out of This World. Now, some people might not like that version because it does take away from the initial effect. So the initial effect here is a beautiful one that you've separated both cards. Now, does it add a little bit more of a punch to it? I think so. Depends on the context, but that's just something I wanted to include there that I had written up in my notebook before as a way of just extending this a little bit more. But you see the initial method is beautiful. It combines both of these ideas by Michael Amar and Paul Harris to have this beautiful trick that's done from a borrowed shuffle deck without any need to prepare the cards ahead of time. The interesting part too here is that when you are done, you have a card that are separated by the red ones and the black ones. So if you want, you could even do a little bit of a shuffle, a false shuffle, where you shuffle all the black cards, keeping the red cards intact. And you could actually go into another method of Out of This World. So you could actually go into whatever method you want of Out of This World that involves the spectator dealing through the cards like this, and you are already set because the cards are already separated. So that's just a wonderful little bit of an Out of This World variation. I want to give it to you guys and share it because it's something that I truly enjoy, and it's something that doesn't require any work on your end whatsoever. So thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you for being members of the Pigcake Magic Academy, and I hope to see you on the next one.